Well, coming off the heels of the Iowa caucuses last night, the national spotlight tonight, and for the next couple of days, will be on South Carolina.
State GOP Chairman Chad Connelly joining us now to talk about our upcoming primary. And everywhere I look today, people are talking about the First in the South primary in South Carolina.
In fact, I was watching the Iowa coverage last night, and thanks for having me, by the way. Appreciate being here with y'all. But everybody was talking about it. I was flipping 5 or 6 different channels throughout the night, watching the returns, and of course they were all kind of punchy because it extended so long. But it was like every other sentence, somebody was promoting the importance of South Carolina. So we're in the place we need to be.
This is how important South Carolina is. Newt Gingrich is leading in the polls here right now. His campaign said today, if he doesn't win South Carolina, it's over for him.
You know, this has traditionally been the place. 30 years now, we're legitimate. We've got a track record of having produced the eventual nominee on the Republican side. The media know it. The national folks know it. If you look at the message last night from all those people on the different networks, they all know it and they recognize. We've got the first real blend of the Republican primary voter. We've got the social conservatives, the fiscal conservatives, and the military conservatives. And so we've probably got a better cross-section to make that presentation and pick the right nominee, and 30 years plays it out.
As we talk about the primary, let's talk about the logistics of it and how this is going to get paid for and how this is going to play out in the courts.
Well, it's already played out. The Supreme Court made a ruling. All that's settled to us, and we're going to put on a primary on the 21st.
This race is wide open, though, in South Carolina. That's what you believe right now, anyway.
I really do. And I did a lot of media stuff today and a lot of national interviews. Before I left the house this morning, I'd already done, 4 national interviews with different papers and TV folks who were talking about this. And I don't think this is done at all. I know that's kind of a national narrative that, hey, it can be wrapped up. I think it will be wrapped up here, but I think the race is wide open. Our primary voters are an interesting lot. They really expect to get to know these candidates. You wouldn't believe the places I go and the people say, well, I hadn't met so-and-so, but they were here and I like them, and that's a pretty high bar for somebody running for president, that you got to meet the person in little old Newberry or Prosperity or Bluffton or Oconee or whatever. But that's how our primary voters feel. Whoever comes here, campaigns hard, and connects with voters, I think is going to do well and win. And then I think we'll pick the nominee.
And as our state GOP chair, who do you think has the best chance of winning?
I've been real careful. I'm not a strategist or a prognosticator. I really think it's as wide open as it can be. Here's what I will tell you is I know people in all the camps. A lot of those folks helped me in my campaign last spring. They have talent in every one of those campaigns. They know what they're doing, and if they get their candidates out to meet the people, they're going to do well here. It's wide open.
As far as other candidates are concerned, you mentioned it a moment ago about going out and shaking hands with the public after South Carolina. And since our state for the last 30 years has picked the Republican nominee, after South Carolina, the field will probably dwindle, don't you think?
Yeah, traditionally, like I said, I think we're going to pick the nominee. It may not be somebody people think or the message that they're given, but the historical view is that you don't have to win Iowa, you don't have to win New Hampshire, but you got to win South Carolina. And so no matter what kind of momentum boost comes from those states, this has been the place it's been decided.
With Florida pushing their date up, how is that affecting us?
Well, look, we got penalized. I had to move our date to keep us first in the South. And what the folks in South Carolina need to understand is without us being first in the South, we don't have these candidates coming here. We're going to get ignored. It's a big deal. I've seen some studies that say that they spend some $40 or $50 million plus or minus in our state during this entire campaign season. So it's a great thing for the state of South Carolina. They're spending money here, they're hiring people, they're eating at restaurants and staying at hotels and on and on and on. So this is a really big deal for our state that they come here and they come here early. We've got to maintain our spot as first in the South. When Florida squeezed the calendar down, all I knew was we got to stay first in the South. So I moved it up to be able to meet that schedule, and we're going to get penalized by the RNC. I'm going to go to the RNC meeting in New Orleans next week, and I'm going to stay on message that I think the penalties are wrong because we're penalized the same as Florida is, even though they created the problem.
And what are those penalties?
Well, we're going to lose half our delegates. Now, I had some people in Florida privately tell me that they're kind of counting on what happened 4 years ago to happen again. They think that the nominee will say, look, we forgive those penalties, everybody gets all their delegates back. So at our convention on May 19th here in Columbia, the state party, I'm going to elect the full slate of delegates. We're going to have everybody run like they always do, and we'll be prepared just in case they do forgive the penalties. But right now we're anticipating we'll lose half our delegates, and then the delegates will be awarded proportionally. There'll be 11 at-large delegates that'll go to the winner take all. The 7 congressional districts, since we have 1 new, will assign 2 delegates each. So whoever wins that congressional delegate will win those 2 votes.
All right, one more debate for the GOP candidates in South Carolina, right?
Yeah, big deal. We're going to have an entire weekend. It's going to be like a mini convention. We've got vendors and booths and a bunch of events, something for everybody. Going to kick off Saturday night. We've got a beach music festival and concert. The next day there's a prayer breakfast, and then we're going to have a ladies' tea that afternoon, on Sunday afternoon. And we're really going to host a 7th congressional debate. And going to do something really unique that we think is going to draw some attention nationwide. We're going to have our congressmen be the moderators and ask the questions of the candidates who are running for 7th Congressional District. Then, of course, Monday there are going to be events around Myrtle Beach and the venues, and then that night will be a 2-hour debate on Fox News that's being done by us, Fox News, and Wall Street Journal.
And that was Monday, January 16th.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a big deal.
All right. Chad,
good to see you.
Thank y'all for having me. Appreciate it so much, Darcy.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
All right, and good luck with the primary.
Thank you very much.